Welcome to Family Business Diaries, the podcast where we step behind the scenes to unravel and to understand the real stories shaping Africa's family businesses. This season, we're doing something truly special, trying to understand couples that build, lead, and sustain family businesses. And we're starting with a powerful duo, okay? We have Dr. Stephane Nwolley and will we say Mrs.? And Deborah Asmah.
On today's episode of Family Business Diaries, we spotlight a powerhouse couple redefining innovation, leadership, and impact across Africa. Meet Dr. Stephane Nwolley, technology executive, AI strategist, chairman of the ICT sector at the Association of Ghana Industries, board member of CSIR College of Science and Technology, and co-founder and CEO of Npontu Technologies. With over 2 decades of experience driving digital transformation across government, finance, telecom, agriculture, and healthcare, his work bridges cutting-edge technology with ethical, sustainable impact. Alongside him is Ms. Deborah Asmah, an AI expert, privacy and compliance leader, and co-founder of Npontu Technologies, a certified information privacy manager and data protection officer. Deborah has championed digital inclusion for over 23,000 businesses, expanding innovation beyond Ghana into Nigeria, Côte d'Ivoire, and the United Kingdom. Together, they are not just building a company, they are shaping a responsible digital future for Africa. This is their story.
All right, we need to talk about the names. So I'm going to start from there because, as you can see, I couldn't even say Mr. and Mrs. Nwolley. So Deborah, I'm coming straight to you. I mean, welcome to Family Business Diaries, but let's just start with the names, okay? Dr. Stephane Nwolley and
Deborah Asmah.
Simple and short. But what's going on here? Tell me, because we're talking about family business, how you build this. What's the story behind the names? I want to understand what's going on.
You want the story as my parents thought to give to me, or you want the story as to why you couldn't say Mr. and Mrs.
Yes,
Nwolley?
I want to understand because I know that you two have a good thing going. So tell me.
Well, we are married, so I think that it's in order to say Mr. and Mrs. Nwolley.
Okay.
But in terms of the name I go by every day, it's just Deborah Asmah. And from the business point, it was very strategic for us not to have changed my surname to Nwolley. Because we started off very early in our entrepreneurship journey. Okay. I mean, I had just finished school, so I was really young. And it comes with a lot of questions and challenges when you go knocking at the door of people to, you know, solicit for business. Yeah. And so if you go and then you hear, okay, these are family husband and wives, there's always the bias, or there's a certain level of prejudice that you might not have the right structures in place. It's just a family and friends affair. Mm-hmm. And so their trust for you is not as much as they probably would have given if you didn't come with that. I won't call it baggage, but if you come along with that through the door. And so Stephane and I thought it was a very good idea to not change my name officially. And so, 14 years down the line, I've just kept the Asmah.
Stephane,
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
It was my idea. Normally, a woman would always, so far as you get married, they want everyone to know that they are Mrs.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
really?
yeah. So I think that's the whole issue of as going to marriage. They want to be seen as Mrs. and all that. But like Deborah said, we needed to be intentional, and that's what we decided to do. And we wanted to avoid the issue of, is it a family business? What about there are times where we've gone to some places where later they find out we are married, and the question that will come is, what about if you guys fight? How is the business going to happen? Those questions were some of the things we wanted to avoid right from the beginning. So for me, I think that by the grace of God, it has worked, and we are where we are right now. So today, people do not even worry about whether we are married or not married, because we have demonstrated capacities in many ways that we can. And by the grace of God, we've been able to do what we had to do. So we're excited about the
You know,
journey.
it helps you segment your people too. Anytime you hear Mrs. Nwolley, I know the person is coming from church.
Yes, that's true. Because they know that
Yes.
something has happened. That's cool. All right. So I kind of jumped, but since we've talked about it, let's take it back. I mean, what led you working together? Whose idea was it? Tell us about yourselves. Maybe let's start really, because even though it's about lovers or couples, you each have your own unique story. So maybe let's start with Stephane. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got here, and then we'll move into why you decided to work together. Because usually when you go ask a lady out, the next thing is not let's work together. So tell us the story. We're interested.
Yeah, my parent, we are a family of entrepreneurs, right? My dad and mom started their career as entrepreneurs. So my mom had restaurant, had haulage business, had transport business where she was transporting goods from one country to another country. My dad also, yes, after his career in the as a navy, right, and he also now decided to do full-time ministry, so he became serving God, and most of the work that he was doing was to be able to do entrepreneurship, printing press, trying to be able to do t-shirts, and so a lot of things that he was doing, farming and all that. So that's how I grew up. When I finished secondary school, I was managing my parents' businesses. So I was the one running, trying to be able to run the operation and all that. A lot of training went into that space. So it has always been in me that I would always turn out this way. And it was a prayer that my parents always prayed of. They always made sure that anytime there's a prayer, they'll end up with being intentional about what kind of prayer they'll do for each child. And I believe that is the course I did. When I completed university, I started my career as an engineer. Okay, I was a teaching assistant and a senior research assistant in the University of Cape Coast. And obviously, this was not the journey. And I got an opportunity at MTN to work there for a number of years. That journey was forcing me to be able to say, okay, how do I pursue my entrepreneurship career? My prayer has always been Genesis, right? Anytime we prayed, you knew that, look, Bible says that when he created man, at some point, man was alone. So it means that you needed someone who would carry your vision, who carry your support. And that's where the multiplying effect was. So I was very intentional in the kind of prayers I would do. I had a girlfriend before seeing Deborah, and she spotted me. I think I was teaching in the University of Cape Coast, and
Would you stop carrying along that narrative?
The
So
story
it actually becomes true.
I'm sure you asked me the question, so I would want to continue that.
Yes,
So I'm
please
telling
go
my
on.
story. So she identified my potential, and she saw whatever I was doing whilst I was teaching. She would intentionally pass by my class,
Seriously,
by my class, and to draw my attention. So I'll stop my class,
And
come
you
out,
stopped.
I'll stop the class, and I'll call her, young lady, what are you doing here? And we would have a small chat. I think that's how the conversation started. But
Deborah.
along the
So
way,
not sure.
along the way, I kept praying. I kept praying that God should help me see the kind of person that I want to do. And I kept telling her that, look, I was intentional in my choice and I knew what God wanted to do. So I kept praying that I need a helpmate to be able to carry this journey. So after some time, we started dating. And when she finished school, I insisted that she shouldn't work anywhere, that we needed to be able to start a business together. So she got opportunity
Wow.
to work. I convinced her. I knew she got a job at those times at Unibank. The parents got her opportunity somewhere. She also went to apply at Stanchart. She got a job and she went through the training. I convinced her that, look, this is the journey that we need to pursue. So we needed to find a way of how to manage my salary at MTN. So the little that we get, we push it. She'll just do that. She'll just manage it. And we found a way of getting along. So when we got married, this was the only thing. So Deborah has built the business whilst I was working, trying to be able to join her later. So she was the one who started that. She would work along the way. So I think for us, we believe that the manifestation of God's presence, like the prayer that I prayed and believing in Genesis, that's where we are today. So every time when we even have some small quarrels, we remind ourselves that this is the journey that we need to be able to pursue.
So she's an answer to prayer, and yet she's the one who came knocking.
Can you imagine?
Sure, Deborah.
You know,
Tell us your side of the story.
And you see, he has to give credit to the people who spoke on his behalf. When he pushes or peddles this narrative, he forgets that he's kicking the people out. So I'll name them one by one for them to come for their cows from him.
Because I worked for it. So.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, everything he said is true, except
The
who
part.
saw who first. Yeah. Like Stephane's story. I share a similar one with my parents. I grew up running my parents' restaurant. I mean, after school, you'd come and do your bit, serve, waiter, cook, and do all that. But I must confess, I'm not particularly an entrepreneur. Probably there is an aspect of me that is able to do some of these things because that's how I grew up. But I wasn't forcefully going out to build my own business. That wasn't the orientation I had from the start. Stephane had, when I got to know Stephane or met, he was always dabbling in one thing or the other, and mostly in the technology space. So he was very aggressive around that side. It took a lot of convincing from my friends to pay attention to him. Because he was your typical geek, in school. I didn't even know he existed. The first time he said that he had met me and he was driving the car, I was like, I didn't even recognize you. So there was a whole orchestration where my friend pushed me to come and spend a night with her at her dormitory. And it was when I got there, she intentionally left the room and said, oh, she needs to go and sort some few things out. So I was in the room alone when this gentleman walks in. And the most infuriating thing, he comes in and his first question is that your hair?
Oh,
allegedly that.
Stephane.
And he was wearing an oversized t-shirt, very skinny in those days. And so I remember when he left and my friend walked, I was like, never how baby Sam say, is that my hair? Let me share where you move. But why do you even ask that? So it was those conversations that started. But like he was saying, he was an academician because he was a good student. He was a TA, and he claims he taught me, which I don't remember, and there's no proof to. So after he left school a bit early, and after school, he did think it was the best option for us to go into something together. Yeah, one would ask, but wasn't that too risky for you? Yeah. I guess it was, but then it was also the possibility of it materializing. And then I also thought, I mean, worst case scenario, so far as I have life, I could always go back into the working field. So we took a chance.
That's daring. I mean, I'm just thinking, young girl, like, what would your parents even think? Like, who is this guy? Because you're not married.
They were worried.
Like, you were not married then,
no,
right?
we were not married then.
So the level of trust.
My dad had this philosophy. You can only have a relationship when you are in the university second year. So second year. I mean, it was something he always said. So, I mean, when we started dating at that time, I informed my dad about it. Stephane had to come and all that. So those whole sizing up was happening. After school, I did my national service, of course, at YMCA. And so job applications and everything. But I remember my dad also making a lot of effort to see how he can help secure opportunities for us aside our own application. But so when I came back to him and I said that, okay, I'm not going to take StanChat or I'm not going to take any of the opportunities that you'd gotten because I want us to do this together, he was worried. I remember him saying that, okay, if you don't want to take any of the corporate jobs because it would take a lot of your time, you can take a teaching job. Yeah, and there was a school ready to give me that opportunity, which will give you time and flexibility to also do your bit. But it was all or nothing.
You were in love. That's what it was.
They were worried, but they have also played a tremendous role in supporting us to make this happen. I mean, when I got pregnant, I had my baby. My mom was there throughout the process. Wow. She went out marketing with me with my firstborn, which was my daughter then. And we can go into a meeting, I'm there presenting, and I was doing exclusive, and she would have the baby at another side in the office, and I would go breastfeed and go back. And wow. Yeah, they've been very supportive.
No, that's amazing. Because I'm thinking about it. Your business is almost 10 years. And so, I mean, at that time, when you talk technology, like maybe it's not like we have it now, right? So even trying to convince people on what you're doing, how was the journey? Must have been frustrating. So young couple coming together, you've taken a huge risk in saying, okay, let's do this. We are relying on your MTN salary, and yet you need to balance work and still help her do, like, what was it like? Because how definitely was a leap of faith. Like, you really had to go out there and trust God, because technology back then, what was it? What was the journey like when you started, when you said, okay, we're doing this together? Walk us, how was it? Did you fight? Did you have fights? Like, how was the journey? Tell us about it. And any of you can answer that.
Yeah, so I think this is not our first business. We had started, Deborah and I started businesses long. We tried from churches to schools, going around to build some filling stations, trying to do that on our own. And so we started another first business formally and all that. I don't know if those ringtones that you see today, that you see Duncan Williams bring the name of Jesus Christ, and we played most of the roles there. The chief imam also reciting on this one, like CRBT. That was how we started our conversation, our innovation. Try to make sure that we can get the church's voice on the as a color ringtone for people. So we're going to Winners Chapel, Ghana during time. We're trying. We went a lot more places to be able to do that. Yeah. So we this is how we started. Because in as much as technology was not adapted, going to be taken by most people, we identified that the church pastors wanted to have some of their sermon as a color ringtone. So when you call them, you hear the song. We had musicians who wanted, I think MTN had already started this CRBT. We wanted to make sure that it was going to be used for marketing purposes. So evangelism and small companies marketing. So that's how we positioned it. It was interesting, but it was not generating the funds that we wanted. But the burning desire to make sure that we wanted to pursue the entrepreneurship path is what kept coming. We failed as much as possible, and we always told ourselves that the way forward, the only way is forward, right? So we had difficult moments, and I think God finds a way of letting you not remember some of these things, and now you can be a source of motivation to others. It wasn't easy, right? But I think the pursuit of happiness is what drove us.
Yeah. Like I suppose the technology has always advanced in various stages. Fast forward to starting in Npontu, we had failed from one business. Well, failing mean we'd had to, move on to this new stage. And our original intention, which is the case today, was to offer AI services, or is to offer AI analytics to businesses. But when we started, now artificial intelligence is a word everybody is putting out. But when we started the conversation, it wasn't that much out there. And so it was tough. It was hard. But we kept going at it and realized that, okay, this wasn't going to work at that time. So we needed to change our strategy and build relevant tools and platform that would become the enabler for the analysis that we would start doing. So there are times where what you have on offer isn't, the environment or the ecosystem isn't really ready, and you have to adapt your strategy to be able to do that. I didn't do technology in school. He did. He's an engineer. Yeah. I read the social sciences. The reason why this worked for us when we started was he was very technical then. Now he can talk all the business jargons and explain things even better than me. But it was easy for me to communicate the technicalities to the next person in a language that they would understand. So that's what also helped the partnership fruit what we have now.
I love it. Two people, one vision. I mean, failure is good as well, right? I mean, you learn from stuff and then you do better. And thankfully, you've done this for almost 10 years. So kudos to you guys. So this is really good. Now, I want to understand, currently you are the CEO. Is that it? But you said Deborah was the one driving everything. And so when did you make the jump? I mean, you said you were working and Deborah was the main person driving this. But now we have you as the CEO. So let's talk about roles and how you manage that. Why are you not the CEO if you're the one driving things? How do you guys choose the roles? And then also, how do you make decisions? We want to understand the dynamics when it comes to couples. So talk us through all of that. how are you the CEO? How did you allow him to become the CEO? Let's start from there.
Well, I mean, it's like Stephane mentioned, there's history. So, I mean, when we started formally registering the business and saying that, okay, we are starting a formal business, at that time was when he was working. And so you need to be able to present like a managing director for it, for the business. But remember, like I said, I've not always been at a place where I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So Stephane had a particular dream or a vision, and he knew at that time he also wasn't in a position to come full time and execute. We needed some funds. And so mine was, okay, I'm going to guide you through this and we would make it work. That was the thing. So at that time, I was the managing director then for the company. But by the time we were establishing in Npontu, Stephane was officially in Npontu and starting with us. So there was no need for me to play that pseudo role, and then he would come and take over. And it was very, I think it's not even something we had to discuss and all that, because my strength really is in operationalizing things. That's where my strength, it naturally comes to me. Where Stephane's strength is in strategy, because he has the bigger picture, he has the vision, and he's putting together the team to be able to do that. So it's much more easier for me to go into implementation. We can do strategy contribution in terms of discussing the strategy and all that. So I can do strategy contribution, but my strength is seen more in the execution of the strategy, not in the formation of it.
Okay. So
I don't know if
what I'm getting from this is, I mean, I think you guys were very clear, and that comes from communication, right? And also just understanding who you are, what your strengths are,
Exactly.
and also
not only that. Remember, I started my story from saying that I was intentional in the kind of prayer that I was making. So I believe in the Genesis story that, look, when you pray that this is what you want, it will, everything that is working is an orchestration of God's power working together. So it comes naturally and all that.
But we had to talk through it. There are times that there's, and it's with everything, whether we were married or not, there's always going to be places where you would have conflict with regards to the strategy or the how of the strategy and all that. There are times that we have snapped at each other, but you always come back to the goal. And that is the driving force. You always come back to the goal because you share a common goal, so it's easy to navigate back to it.
I was actually going to ask how you separate, the emotions from business decisions. How do you balance it?
Oh, you cannot balance that.
You cannot, because I keep telling people that when you go to work right now, and assuming there's something that happens here that you were unhappy with, even with us, when you go home, you go talking to your partner.
Exactly.
And so if you're pissed at your boss, you go and you get sympathy from your partner and you want him to support you and say you were right and we didn't In my case, when I'm pissed at my boss, I go home and I'm still pissed.
But you know who suffers the most?
Who is it?
I know. The man suffers the most.
You pay more, so you'll be fine.
Oh no! So you have to let go your egos and now apologize. So that's how you get move on.
I mean,
you apologize as the husband or the boss?
No, of course, you know what you want ahead of the night is too, so you have to apologize and move on.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, you find a way. You definitely would have to find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Even in the home settings, when you guys have a fight, when you still go to your individual works, even if you are not working together, and when you come back home, you would have to find a way of resolving and make the marriage work. Same thing when you come to work and you have your conflict, you would have to find a way of resolving and make the business. It's just that I'm having both parts of the world to deal with, but we find a way to make it work.
Okay.
But I also think that I think that temperament also plays. For me, if I have a disagreement with you now, by the time I get to the stairs and I've even forgotten that we fought.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, so if you hold something to you, I don't even know what's going on. I don't even remember what I did and all that.
It makes it more annoying
sometimes.
I
understand.
I live with one of those. All right. So I want to drive this. I want to get personal. I mean, You know, when you go for interviews, give us one incident. Tell us one time when this happened. Is there an incident that happened that almost broke? No, with the rib story, there's no way anything will break you. But was there like one challenge that really got to either one of you, and how did you resolve it?
Um, I'm trying to. I guess one of the things about growing and maturing in your issues is that you also you
You
pack
move
it
on.
in a
Yeah.
there are instances where I can remember, but I can't remember the story behind it. But I can remember instances where we were really challenged and like, do this work, make sure you baby and to let me
Yeah.
go do something else. But I don't remember the reason for it. But I do know that no matter how challenging it has been in the past or would be in the future, unlike, for most people or most businesses where there are two separate individuals that just come in, and I think that's the advantage we have, that come in to form a partnership. In this case, the partnership goes beyond the business. And so the commonality in terms of the goal you are pursuing is even more than just the business. So you cannot just say that, okay, I want to sell my shares or I want to move on and all that. You can say that, but you just have more to hold
there's
on
more,
to
yeah.
than just the conflict. And I guess that is what has also sustained us beyond that. And also knowing without a doubt that the other party has your best interest. You cannot know that for certain if it's any other person you're working with. It could look like the person has your interest, but you cannot determine. And I do know that even in marriage situations, there are times that people have found out later it wasn't what they thought. But all things being equal, I cannot fathom anybody having my best interest more than my husband, parents aside.
Yeah.
I can now, with me having grown up, living with my husband, with my kid, I cannot fathom that there is somebody who was better for me than my husband. And so beyond the disagreement, you have to come back to the fundamental truth.
Yep.
And that's what will keep you grounded.
It takes maturity. So well done.
Yeah, I think that from the business perspective, I don't think that there's been some strong thing that has caused that friction that would allow us to see that, okay, because of this. It's just like any business, you and your boss can say something and in your mind you want to quit the business or you want to say your mind and all that. Those ones are there. Every marriage would have its own thing and all that, irrespective of whether we're working together or you're not working together. Those ones would always exist. Luckily for us, God has created our temperament is different. I am someone who would always, I'll forget most of the things, but I'm very aggressive from the beginning. I'll say my mind, I'll say what I have to say, but I don't think that I'll remember. So if you try to say all these things to me again, I'll be surprised that I was the one who said all these things. I can, it's not like I'm denying all these things. Those are general conversations that are there for me and for us to say, look, I think we are clear in our mind that, look, no one can make this thing work for us. And the kind of destination that we envisage that we want to go, we are very clear as to where we want to go. And we tell ourselves that, look, there is no other person who would help us go there. And when we go back to the original reason why we were married, it was more like a contractual agreement to be able to accomplish God's purpose or get God's vision. So for us, we know that it's a purpose that we are fighting, and that purpose, God intentionally selected the two of us. So irrespective of the difference, we speak that one out and say that, you know something, we understand that there are issues that are there, but remember that we are good together in this. So let's avoid the conversations that are there. I think that's what has kept us going.
This is really good. Vision, faith, values, everything. I'm loving this. I'm thinking, hey, my husband, should we be starting a business together? But all right. So let me ask this question. Are there any unwritten rules when it comes to working in the office? Like, are there any rules? Do you have any unwritten rules?
No.
None?
No, we don't.
No?
I don't think,
No, we
yeah,
don't.
Okay.
you know,
All right. I'm
free
gonna
fall.
really.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Now, let's talk family, and then I'll ask a few questions on governance. But in terms of your children, have you exposed them to the business? Do you see them taking over? What's the plan?
It is not for the children. Yes, we might have shares. I can give my shares to my child, but not a business to the children. So in our individual, with the same training that my dad gave to me, he didn't train me to take over his business. He trained me to chart on my own path and all that one. And that's the same training. So we've had opportunity to get them to go through internship, train them on ourselves, how to be disciplined. So we have a king in our house. We don't care about how, so we believe in those particular kind of training. We make sure that those ones are done. For this business, it's totally separate. We believe that we have a purpose, and to be able to build that conglomerate, just like the way you see Amazon, Microsoft, and all that, we put things in place. And that's why when we started the business, one of the very first thing that we did was corporate governance. So it's to ensure that we had a board, we had understanding together. So our board chairman has been tremendous. He's been so helpful. He's like a father to me and to us together as a family. So we understand that it is purely business that we are doing, and we understand that yes, we are married in the business, so we need to be able to grow the business beyond the children. So they should create their own path. We'll train them, give them the best of education, the best of career path they should do, but it's not a business for them. If by some strange reason, or maybe by some good reason, that they find themselves saying that, okay, I want to be able to work here, and they will go through the rank just like any other person would go, but it is not a business for them. It is our path, right? But as part of them, they're also a building block to all these things. That's I believe.
Interesting. Deborah, do you want to add something to
No,
that?
no. I mean, he said that for the exposure, it would be wrong on our part not to expose them. So we let them do internship here, and they go through the process. But like Stefan has mentioned, our purpose is not necessarily their purpose. So if it happens to meet, that's fine.
That's good. And I love the fact that you have the governance thing in place, because sometimes for most of these, businesses that start, it's always the challenge, corporate governance, but you seem to have gotten it right from the start. Is it based on your trainings from your former business? Like, or how did you governance right so fast?
You see, challenges. I think our first business taught us that you needed corporate governance to be put in place, and luckily for us, our board chairman seemed to have played a role at that time. We met. That was the first time we met him, and since then, we felt that going forward, the mistakes that we made in starting that business, because we had no corporate governance, we needed to be able to start well, and he decided to be there to help. So the people on the board were people that were recommended by him. We sat with them, we had a chat, let's pick this person. And it has been so good so far.
That's good. All right. So I was going to ask about money issues, but then with the board, and it's like no one is above the law. You're able to keep things in check, right? So I shouldn't even go there. Or is there any?
There is, because we keep to the governance that exists. You do your return, you do your reports, and so you run it as any other business.
So we get to a stage where the finance team would ask us, what are you using this money for? I want to explain, or they want you to explain. And we're excited about that. And we earn salary just like any other person earns salary. We don't come into the company knowing that, okay, we have to just go and take something. There is that. My board chairman would meet you every time you check the report. It's not like he's micromanaging us and all those ones, but he's guiding the path that, look, if you want to build that conglomerate that you say you want to build, these are the rules of engagement. Because if you want to be able to get people to believe in the vision, this is the process. So we've learned how to do that. So if I don't have money, I have to wait till the end of the month to also be paid and do that. So that is how we've done. There are checks and balances that comes out.
Awesome. Let's talk about, I mean, you've done this for almost 10 years. I want you to tell us about a proud moment, because clearly you're doing things right. That's what's led you to this point, right? So I want you each to tell us about a proud moment. I mean,
I'm sure we have many proud moments, and they come and go as issues also come and go. It's like you can stay in your proud moments for long. I don't know. I guess one of the immediate one that will come to mind was when we had our ISO certifications. it showed that the business had gotten to a certain place for you to move beyond just the normal operationalization, to have standards that you can point and show to other big businesses that you are there. That was a really, really good time for us. Also, when we got our first World Bank project, we were also very excited about that because it showed that we were making progress. I don't know. In fact, even putting up our first billboard was a proud moment for me, because then you think that, okay, you are there. You're also coming out for you to be able to put out your first billboard. I don't. I think we have good moments, just as much as we have bad moments just come in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think two things. I think my when my chairman mentioned that, look, I like what you're doing, and I think I have faith that you can do that. It's very rare when you are with people. It's just like in the house. I told my dad when I was doing computer science, he thought that everything you should be able to fix because you are doing computer science. So he brings a laptop. So when you're able to fix, he's not able to tell you, like your parent tell you that I love you. It's these days that we're able to do that. But when you get this thumbs up that, look, I think I like what you are doing, it gives you confidence, right? And he will remind you that don't let things get into your head. Be focused and get doing it. That's one thing. Today, I think that majorly when people are talking about artificial intelligence, it's impossible for our names not to be part. If it's not the main one, at least the top three, it's impossible for your names not to be part. The ones who don't want to mention our names, they know deep in their hearts that it is us. But because we are annoying them, they will not want to mention their name. And that's a proud moment for me. So I think by and large, that's what, because this is what we sought to do, like Deborah started. People did not understand it. They said we already had it. But we explained to them, you don't have it, but we understand that this is the step. So we took a step back to build that journey. So every long vacation, we pick a number of interns, sometimes over 1,000 interns. We go to the universities and we ask them to be intentional, and we label the data one by one to ensure that we have the right context, because we had a journey to ensure that we will create a model that was not biased, that understands our context, our cultural nuances, our religious, our tribal, our communal, and the way we behave and the way we do it. We were intentional to make sure that it is there. And we built that model before ChatGPT. It is online. So we did those particular ones. So today we are where we believe that we should be, right? And now we are trying to now show organizations or people, look, this is what an African has done, and that is how it would impact your business. And I'm having the opportunity to sit in board conversations where we are showing them how do we utilize them, where do they start from, and we tell them not to use ChatGPT, not to use Gemini, not to use DeepSeek, but to use a tool called Nwolley, which was named after me. That is the excitement, the proud moments that I have. And all this. Yeah, so that's one of the proud moments.
But I have to say, you've done some amazing work. The first time I had this AI conversation, it was because we were putting a group together, the CEO Accelerator program. I was like, what is this man talking about? I was so interested. So you really come find you're doing some great things. Yeah. And I like the shade to ChatGPT. All right. So just to wrap things up, I think you've done, I love your story. And I want you to advise couples working together. I mean, maybe advise just family businesses, but the key thing is couples working together, because you have a good thing going and you know what's brought you this far. So I want each one of you to just advise the couples. Tell them as you're led.
Well, I'm a person of faith, so I would center my advice around the Christian principle. And I think for me, it's also one of the things that has helped secure what we have. And speaking from a woman's perspective, I think that it's always important for couples to recognize their role. And I don't know how to put it. I mean, in my case, Stephane is the CEO, and so one would probably think that probably you keep quiet or you submit just because he's your husband, but that's not the case. Even if he wasn't my husband and we were here, he's my CEO. And so you would have to go through the process and the due diligence respect that is required of you as you engage with your CEO, that aside. And then you have to come back to the fact that he's also your husband, where in both instances, he becomes the head. And there is nothing wrong in recognizing the fact that someone has headship over you both at home and at the workplace. And so I think if you are not careful, you feel probably in the home, you're the boss. You come to the office, do you want to show me you are the boss? And it might seem very trivial, but it's something that, if not properly managed, can create unnecessary tension and strife in the business. Also, it is okay to have a voice. Between the two of us, he's very aggressive. I'm also very argumentative. Not in a bad way, but I want to understand, like I always want to understand this. And what you're saying has to make sense. And it's probably the lawyer in me. I want to argue out the point. So it's okay to have a voice, but we as women, we also have to learn when to let it go, and that helps sustain the peace that you're looking for. Letting it go doesn't mean that you don't have a voice or you are not heard. It's also about timing. Even if we were not married and it was just myself and him, I also have to be matured about that. And there is nothing wrong also having a dream outside the business. Stephane is a lecturer at 𝐓𝐞𝐜𝐡 because he's always loved to teach. So beyond Npontu, he has his work at 𝐓𝐶𝐜. I have Jubilee. I never thought I would go into ministry in that state, even though I've always loved music. But I am doing this. I'm doing my music. I'm doing my Christian podcast. I'm doing my social entrepreneurship. So we have this business, but we individually have our passion as well. So my advice would be allow your partner, or both of you should explore what your other passions are beyond just the business that you're doing together. It wouldn't compromise the business. And it helps you also alleviate some of the pressure that you might have within the business. I don't know. These are some of the things I would say.
It's a really good one. Okay,
So
Dr. Stephane.
my own is that, you see, you just have to be real, right? And the man would always be a man when he feels that the woman is advising him. So you'd confuse, that confusion would always exist. So you don't have to be worried about that. So there would always be, I'm the boss. You want to remind the woman at some point, because when you're angry, that would always happen. Continue to listen. Just be yourself. Fight as much as you can. And just know that you don't hurt yourself because you want to get the other person to feel it. Just understand there's a purpose that we are fighting. But as for the fight, I don't believe that, even I'm sure after this conversation, there's a likelihood that she will do something, I'll be angry about it, and I'll react. It doesn't change me who I am, but we understand the reality of that. She would also remind me that do it this way, I'll say I wouldn't do it that particular way. We find a way, but the God factor is what reminds all of us, because you can't be at home and you are fighting for like 1 week and you are not praying. God finds a way of bringing you together. Look, and so far as you have a good conscience, you need to have a good heart. I don't know, I can fight, but it's lasts up to some level, and I might even forget myself. And if you can, have sex.
Powerful message. At this point, we'll keep it PG and keep moving. All right. But that's good. I mean, you can't avoid that, right? That definitely allows you to drop all the drama. I'm looking at you. He's giving you the tips.
And you know how those dynamics works between a man and a woman. It would sort itself out.
No, this is amazing. I'm going to say Dr. and Mrs. Nwolley because we're changing the name somehow. Thank you so much. Thank you. This has been such an interesting conversation. I love the fact that you've been so transparent. I mean, usually people try to manage things, but I think you've been very open, and thank you so much. I know this is going far. This business is just going far. 10 years, it's just the beginning. So we're looking out for what's next. And yes, please remind our viewers of what are we supposed to stop using ChatGPT? What's the one we're promoting?
Nwolley. Nwolley.ai.
.ai. And this is by Africans. Okay,
Yes,
so
for
this is very
Africans.
important. By Africans for Africans. Thank you so much. To our audience, make sure you download it. Is it an app?
Yeah, it's also an app.
All
as
right,
well.
so make sure you check it out. But thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Family Business Diaries. I told you, listening to couples. Now, this is not just a love story. You've had leadership. It's a leadership story. It's legacy. It's everything. And we've come to understand that behind the success, behind the billboards, behind all the glam that you see, there are two people with a vision. There are two people who have sacrificed so much and done so much to get to this point. So as couples, hang in there, but make sure you do things right. Just take the nuggets that you've heard and apply it to your businesses as well. Thank you for joining us on this episode. We release new episodes monthly, and you can catch us on all podcast streaming platforms and on YouTube at Family Business Diaries. For social media, please check us out on Family Business Hub GH for the behind the scenes actions. And you can find us on our website, www.familybusinesshub.co. See you on the next episode. Bye.